this guy has a leader. And like, it seems to be a much more ominous situation. And I think the upperclassmen um, are kind of getting a feel that there's something bigger going on, that all of these, there's no way that there's this many people following some weird, sick, sadistic kind of dude who just likes to punish and beat people up and rob them for no apparent reason, just finds pleasure.
One day, master's degree. One day, PhD. One day, you will write books. One day, commercials. One day, the impossible, you will laugh at the impossible. You will look at the impossible and go, what was I thinking?
Hello, my spoiler alert friends. Thank you guys for joining me in another episode of Let's Talk About It. Guys, it's actually been pretty cool. We've been pretty consistent with these episodes, and thank you guys for coming and listening. It's pretty cool. So this week we got some cool stuff, but I wanted to start with the big one, right? So I was at church, and the message, we're just finishing our Jonah and the Whale series, and you know, if I'm being honest with you, I don't know if our pastor mentioned something about this in the sermon or not. I kind of, when I'm in sermons, I'm hearing the word, and then it kind of takes me different places when I'm in there, so I just run with it, right? But my wife leans over to me, and she basically, they were talking about how you can hear Jesus in the story of Jonah and the whale, and how Jesus took on all of our sin. And, you know, it was both justice and mercy at the same time. Justice because, you know, Jesus took on the punishment that we would take for sin, and then mercy because he took it from us when we didn't have to take it. And my wife leans over and she goes, I never really thought of it that way, but like the most, like when we were talking, we were like, when we think about something happening to our children, right, that takes us to a place where it's like, I wouldn't call it Christian. I'll tell you that much. Definitely not where I go. Definitely it's a merciless kind of punishment that would be dealt to the individual who would encroach on our children and their lives and things like that. So I'm not saying it's a good thing, not saying I'm proud of it, just the reality. And we were thinking about it, and you know, Jesus, like, oftentimes when at least I can speak for myself, oftentimes when I'm thinking about when Jesus was being crucified, and, you know, he was getting the lashes and the crown of thorns and getting spit on and all the stuff that was happening to him, like, for our sins, it's almost like this invisible thing, right? Like, sin is this invisible thing that's going on, and you don't really think about it much. I mean, you think about it, but it's like, man, he took on our sins, man. That's pretty cool. Thank you. But when you think about the actual physical punishment, like changing the perspective of being like, okay, what would I do to someone who murdered my child, who raped my child, who did something heinous to someone that I love? It would probably run along the lines of beating them within an inch of their life, or death, murder, right? That's going to happen, likely. And so it's like, that is the representation of literally all the things, like, of murder, of theft, of all the sin that we hold on to, and that other people do, and the punishment that we want to give them. We're very easy with, give this person this punishment, and, you know, obviously give ourselves mercy, right? We're very quick to do that. And we had never really looked at it like, yo, Jesus walking and getting beaten and the lashes and all the stuff, like, that's literally our wrath. Like, what we would want done to someone who did these heinous crimes. The sins that he was carrying, all the sins that he was carrying, that's the punishment that we would want to give someone if they did that to our loved one. And it was just a really profound thing to me, and my wife, really, but it was really profound because it's like, I've never thought of it that way. You know, it's like, yes, he was being beaten and all this stuff, and it was always from the perspective of, like, here's this innocent guy getting beaten, how wrong. And while that's still the truth, it's like, whoa, it really is like a representation of what what we would actually do to someone if they committed those crimes against someone we loved. And it's even more impactful that he carried that for us. Like, guys, that is wild. He took all of that for us because we're not free of sin. We all do sin. And some, I mean, I can't speak for God. And biblically speaking, I don't believe there is a difference in sin so much, right? But from a human perspective, I do weigh things differently. And so there are certain things where I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's a just punishment. But then there's other things where it's like, ooh, I don't know if you needed all of that for that crime, but it just speaks to the mercy that God has and the love that he has for us by allowing, one, Jesus to take that from us, and then two, us to be able to then, not only was this sin taken from us, it was now and put on someone else. It also now opens the door for us to be in relationship with God for eternity. Just a really cool thought, really cool thing that, my wife and I were talking about and hashing over, and something that we had never thought about. And maybe you guys haven't either. So I think it's a powerful thing, especially since Easter was just around the corner. And, we were just going over this whole thing, and it's like, wow, dude, like, Jesus is a beast. He literally held it down and took all of that for us. And I mean, obviously, like, totally, like, there's not really many words you can say, like, thank you isn't really enough to really give to him for doing that. But man, thank you for taking that so that we don't have to take it, and we can just enjoy the good that is communion and relationship with God. So now that I'm gonna transition, it might seem a little weird going from God to anime, but look, God, medicine, anime. That's what we're talking about, right? So I am going to transition to something a little bit lighter, and it's gonna be the shows that I watched this week. So really, I'm just gonna hit a little highlight on it. So we had Windbreaker and My Hero Academia Vigilantes, and My Hero Academia Vigilantes. I liked the last episode. I like seeing Aizawa and the detective Sukauchi, who was like friends with All Might, who knew his secret. I like seeing them younger and like at the beginning of their careers. It's kind of cool to see that. I'm laughing at Mr. Nice Guy trying to change his name to the Crawler, and it's just like, dude, the Mr. Nice Guy works. Just keep it that way. And then I also like that it's like it's just these three, like they're just like three people trying to do good and pick up where the heroes could not pick up. And I just find that like fascinating that they're doing it. That low key it's illegal, but it's like they're still doing it. They're just trying to help, and I like that. And then Windbreaker, it's interesting that this group, dang, Keel is the name of the group, that they were like, it was just like some dude behind the scenes manipulating their leader to make him go and do all these bad things, to then create this group and have this frenzy and do all this stuff. And it's interesting. What his tattoo said Frank, so I'm like, what is this? Who is this dude? Who's Frank? But I'm curious to see where this goes, because this guy has a leader, and like it seems to be a much more ominous situation. And I think the upperclassmen are kind of getting a feel that there's something bigger going on, that all of these, there's no way that there's this many people following some weird, sick, sadistic kind of dude who just likes to punish and beat people up and rob them for no apparent reason, just finds pleasure in it. So curious to see how that develops. I will definitely keep you guys posted. Thank you guys for listening to the beginning. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you guys have ever had those thoughts or come across that line of thinking. And then also let's talk about the anime. It's all of it. We can just go back and forth this exchange. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.
One thing I know.